Hello, my friend. I am CharLee Simons. Welcome to the big old bad old broadcast here on Do Not Talk. Talk about two things you're never supposed to talk about: politics and religion. The stuff we should have never stopped talking about. I love my grandfather. He's the one that first told me, son, don't talk about politics and religion. It's too divisive. Just tears people apart. It'll end a conversation. It'll stop a party. Okay. So I live my life, even though I've always been a conservative for a long time, just, well, I got to shut up, got to keep my job, got to play it safe. And then once I just really got convicted, no, you got to start speaking up, speaking out. Everything changed. And career-wise, many would say not for the better, but I don't care. I feel that what I'm doing is far more important than whatever creature comforts my career might bring me, because I've had it all. I've had great success. And I've learned, like the Apostle Paul wrote, to be content in all things. Finally learned how to do that. Be content in all things. Because I've had it all, and I've had it all taken away. I've lost it all. I've had sickness. I've had great health. I've had it all. So learn to be content in all things. That's the best advice I can ever give to anybody. And it was advice that was given to me through God's word and the Apostle Paul. Thank you for joining me here. One of my favorite guests is Arthur Schaper. I always have such a good time talking to him. He's so dad-blame smart. And he works with a group that I just admire their work so much. And that is massresistance.org, massresistance.org, doing incredible things. And it's paying off. One of their big pushes, and I'm going to talk to Art about this, is June, instead of being Pride Month, entire states are now making it like traditional family month. That's what Mass Resistance has been working with. I've had a couple of other guests who that's their focus. Let's get it back to the family. Let's get it back to God, and let's take back what was stolen from us, including our language. You're not gay. Gay is happy-go-lucky. Gay is carefree. That's what that word means. And just because you decide you want to be called that because homosexual is too descriptive, well, that's too bad for you. You're not gay. And I refuse to call you that. I'm talking, of course, to that community, not to you, my viewer, right now. Sorry if you're thinking I'm talking to you. Oh, yeah, you're not gay. Maybe you are. But I'm not going to call you that. I'll call you homosexual, which is what it is. That's your choice. It's not a choice, CharLee. Oh, yes, it is. We all have choices, don't we? If you dedicate your life to God and you happen to be a Catholic, you make the choice to be celibate your whole life. You marry God. Nuns marry God. They don't do the deed. And then you, of course, are going to have people throwing in well, what about what they do to children? Well, you know what? I think there's a whole sauna set aside in hell for those people. For those men and women, a sauna set aside in hell for them, because Jesus was very clear about what's going to happen to anyone who jacks with kids. Really clear. It'd be better for you to have a heavy millstone tied around your neck and to be cast into the sea than to cause one of these young ones to stumble. And I see people all over the planet ready to cause children to stumble. They revel in it. They enjoy it. Well, groups like massresistance.org are standing up to that. And so am I. I follow Ephesians 5:11, part of the works of darkness, but instead even expose them. But enough about me. Let's get to Arthur, get his thoughts on what's going on. There's so much right now. It's exciting, actually. And I want to talk to him, and I want to introduce you to him if you've never seen him before on Do Not Talk. Ready? Hit it.
Hey, how you doing there, CharLee? It's good to be back.
I'm borderline amazing. Let's talk about what's happening right here in our state of California, buddy. Fresno County just passed a resolution. The County Board of Supervisors, with my friend Gary Bredefeld, spearheaded this, declaring June from this point forward in Fresno County, at least, is going to be Nuclear Family Month or Natural Family Month. And they screamed on the homo mafia attacked. And we want to be included in your family month. No, you already stole the month away. You said it was yours, so have at it. In the meantime, we're going to be over here celebrating traditional families, man, woman, children, family. Even if they're adopted, doesn't matter. Foster kids, that's also family. But we're leaving the sexual orientation out of it. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is just, it's outrageous. It's perverse. It's disgusting. There's more to the story, which is very much welcome. The Board of Supervisors, they blocked Pride Month activities at local libraries. This is a welcome move. Drag queens are not for kids. They're not for adults. Why are libraries, which are supposed to be safe, accessible, they keep using that term, inclusive spaces
for everybody?
You should not be including sexual perversion and degeneracy, homosexuality, transgenderism, all that garbage. What has it come to that government entities now have to take a stand? But at least they're taking a stand. Fresno County is one of the top 10 counties by population. It is a great move to see them take a stand against all of this. I would love to help make that movement happen across the state. I'd like to see it in Orange County. I'd like to see it in LA County, of course, but LA County is totally bat crazy. I won't say the S part. You get my point, pushing this perversity. In fact, I went to and I documented the LA Pride Parade 2 weeks ago. We're going to be doing some reports on that. It is disgusting and disturbing how corporate interests like Disney, they still have a pride float or they have a pride presence. This is abhorrent. You have hospitals like Children's Hospital. They had a pride presence there as well. It's disgusting. You're supposed to be promoting health, and these behaviors are inimical to public health, to private health, obviously, and to public order. It's disgusting. But the good news that I can tell you, again, that silver lining, is that there was a real sense of muted depression and resignation at this Pride Festival. It wasn't lively. It wasn't a lot of fun. It was a sense of drudgery about it. Everybody showed up because they had to show up. I didn't get the feeling that there was a lot of happy, joyous, and free. It's not a gay lifestyle. It's not a gay agenda. And there wasn't a lot of gay really there to begin with. I saw a lot of corporations wanting to make easy money off of degeneracy, destruction, and general disorder. But that's it. I have a growing hope with Fresno County taking a stand, with the baseball players, these professional athletes having the courage to say, no, we will not celebrate deviancy and destruction. We will not corrupt and ignore our Christian values. Those 3 baseball players for the San Francisco Giants, they put Genesis 9, 12 through 16. They wrote those verses on their cap.
One thing I noticed in the media too, Art, every time they show that scripture there, no one in the media, no one, except for me, has actually read those scriptures. Here's what it says. Here's what that scripture is. And it's the passage in the word where God himself, the creator, makes a promise to Noah.
Yes.
Here's the rainbow. See that right there? You didn't have that before. You do now. This is going to be my covenant with you, my creation, that I'll never destroy the earth again through flood. That's what that verse is all about. So they were forcing the Giants, as you see in the photos, they were wearing their little SF cap, and it had the rainbow pride color flag crap on it. On their jerseys, they had it on the shoulder and they had it on their back, and it was all the colors, the multiple colors, which Arthur and I have covered what those colors actually mean, by the way. And it's not good. It's sick. It's depraved. It's ridiculous, and it's an assault and an insult to the creator of the universe who made all.
And it's not even a rainbow because they use 6 colors, not 7.
And now they got white.
Corrupt. They can never complete. They got
white
corruption
in it too. What's the white thing now?
There's a white, brown, and black, and then they want to have the progress stuff. They keep having to destroy their own creepy creations to try to include every other form of disorder and disarray, and it's failing. It is great to see this thing collapse. I am so proud of those baseball players. They didn't renege on it. They didn't apologize. They didn't try to walk it back. That, to me, is what's really convincing and very encouraging about what those baseball players did. You had federal officials like the U.S. Senator from Missouri, Josh Hawley, and he threatened the Major League Baseball Association, saying, "Are you going to fine them? Are you going to sanction them because they wrote those Bible verses on their cap? That is discrimination. We will probe that. We will sue you for that." And the MLB, they backed off. They rejected, or they reversed any attempts to punish those baseball players. This is what we need. J.D. Vance, to his credit, he weighed in on this too. And he said, hey, President Trump got elected. We don't have to do this anymore. We don't have to celebrate anything that goes against our core values, that goes against the truth.
Here's an LA Dodgers player, pitcher with the Dodgers, did the same thing. Everybody's focusing on San Francisco, maybe because that's basically the Sodom and Gomorrah. But here's a player in Los Angeles doing the same thing. Didn't catch quite the attention or the heat for it, but the SF players certainly are.
There he is, Clayton Kershaw. I will say his name. He deserves our praise and encouragement for speaking out on this. And shame on that. You had podcasters in San Francisco. They were criticizing him. They were saying, you are creating division. How dare he?
They are creating division. Verses. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
The ones who are creating the division are the people pushing the perversion. They're the ones forcing people to do this. I wrote an article about this recently for Town Hall. I started with the first statement, when Cosmo Kramer on Seinfeld, when he wants to participate in the AIDS walk and they want to make him wear the ribbon. And he says, no, I don't wear the ribbon. I don't want to wear the ribbon. Well, you have to wear the ribbon. Well, that's why I don't want to wear it. The force, the compulsion is just inimical to who we are as an American. You can't make me do this. And that's exactly what pride is. It forces its perversion. It imposes its destructive demands on everyone. It's the only way they spread it. People don't do this voluntarily. People don't want this stuff voluntarily, so they force it through corporate promotion. They put it on the professionals, and they threaten them if they don't play along. And we are seeing this. This is such a big win for us to have.
There's Rob Manfred.
Professional athletes say, no, we're not doing this. And on baseball, hockey players did this a couple years ago, but a lot of people don't watch hockey, but lots of people watch baseball. And this has gotten a lot of people fired up in a good
Rob
way.
Manfred right now, right there with his reaction to all of it.
Got it. Yep, there he is, the MLB commissioner.
Do you know who the York Revolution are? Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, it's a minor league baseball team. And in fact, our mass resistance, we have a SWAT team. It's a group of people around the country. We had them all writing into the organization for this baseball team, supporting the players. They said, you shouldn't punish them. You shouldn't force them out of the team because they took a stand and refused to wear all that pride crap. And they were willing to forfeit a game over it.
Well, yeah. I mean, and here's what the management and owners were trying to force the players to wear for their little pride night. Look at that.
Yeah.
And the whole team said, nope.
This is
and they literally forfeited the game. And what do? What did they fire the whole team? Start over? Where are you going to find them? I mean, this was amazing. That thank God for these men. We need more men like them to actually stand up and go, screw you, screw your pride, get out of our face. Not happening. What is the percentage of homosexuals in the United States of America? Those who are in the LGBTQ camp. Look at this.
And look, you know what? I've often said these statistics are meaningless because it's not essential. It's not.
No, look how small they are. Is what I'm saying. Look how small they are.
And even with that, it's like, this is not like a static category to begin with. People jump in and out, or they want to call themselves different things. There was a famous singer. She was advertised. I think it was Demi Lovato. I think that was her name. She was calling herself non-binary. Then she abandoned that. She got, she's now dating men again. The point is, it's not an identity at all. It's a behavior, and it shouldn't be treated as some kind of special class or static identity. So those numbers I don't even respect. And the fact, and if they show the scale, the scale of people identifying with it skyrocketing, it shows that again, it's not normative.
Well, yeah, that's because it has become such more unique, timely, and trendy. But that's because of a lot of the corporations getting behind it. And they are doing now what there was a time in the corporate world, in the business world, you did not get involved in that. you stayed out because you didn't want to offend half your crowd, half your customers. You didn't want to drive them away. All bets are off now. They're all on board, and they're doing everything they can to push their little satanic agenda. Now these are huge corporations. Well, that's what happens when you don't have more local ownership that have to actually be accountable to their customers. When you got big, huge corporations running everything. Watch this report from Fox News. I thought it was very fascinating.
My advice to the corporate CEOs of America is to stay out of politics. Don't pick sides in these big fights.
Novel idea. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell calling out what he calls the outrage industrial complex. As others say, maybe they should boycott companies like Delta and Coke for bowing to woke online mobs over Georgia's voting law, while ignoring, quote, real authoritarian regimes around the world that commit the most brutal atrocities, including my next guest, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. He says that maybe it is time for Republicans to begin the boycott operation and start with perhaps the MLB. Senator, good to see you today. Do you think that's the way to combat this, to do sort of an eye for an eye?
Well, they started it. Major League Baseball wants to boycott the whole state of Georgia, including Atlanta. They've already gotten rid of the All-Star game and the draft, and they're doing it because they don't like a Republican law, a law that actually expands voting and doesn't contract voting. Georgia now has more early voting than New York has, so it's kind of ridiculous. Even the facts don't meet what they're trying to do. But my point is, if they want to boycott us, why don't we boycott them? This is the only thing that will teach them a lesson. If Coca-Cola wants to only operate in Democrat states and wants only Democrats to drink Coca-Cola, God love them. We'll see how well they do when half of the country quits drinking Coca-Cola, when half the country quits using Delta. Yeah. So the thing is they're all woke, but they're really doing something that is against the financial interest of every business. Publicly traded businesses usually don't get involved with politics because it hurts their bottom line to make half the country unhappy. Yeah, exactly.
I think we can find ourselves, we think we are already divided. As I said before, wait until there's like red soda and blue soda and red airlines and blue airlines. I mean, it is amazing to me. These publicly traded companies have a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders to make the most money that they can in obviously, a legal way. But now they're weighing in on everything. And it's interesting to me that Charles Barkley has spoken up about what he sees going on in the world. And as he sometimes does, he sort of put his finger on this. Let's put it up on the screen and tell everybody at home what he said. He said, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think our system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp on money and power. They divide and conquer, says Barkley.
That's
what do you
it.
think, Senator?
Bottom line is, as long as we have big, huge conglomerate cancers, basically is how I look at it, running the show and buying up all the small businesses, and there is no regional or local anymore. It's all big corporate entities. A lot of them have investors from other areas of the world, and the majority of stockholders are in I don't know, Europe or China, things like that, and they're beholden to those stockholders as well. And those stockholders hate what we stand for and what we believe in and what we stand against.
Yes,
they're getting away with it, though, Arthur, I believe, due to our lack of being willing to give up what we consider to be our creature comforts. When I started talking about, look at all the money that Starbucks is giving to Planned Parenthood. And I'm telling Christians that. I'm telling my fellow believers this. I'm going, Starbucks, please stop buying their stuff. Look what you're supporting. I believe we're going to be held accountable for that. You know that's going on, but yet you're still in the. And I had a pastor tell me, well, I like their coffee and they're really convenient. There's always one right nearby. And so I always stop in there and go, everything I just said meant nothing.
And that's not convenient. There's nothing convenient about, pushing transgenderism on kids. There's nothing convenient on forcing, sodomy to be pushed on students in schools. This is evil. And please, there's plenty of places you can get coffee. That's ridiculous. I just don't accept that, moral, that moral miscalculation, to put it mildly. That's just ridiculous.
That is a moral miscalculation. I love that. I call it more of a character flaw. myself. But we don't boycott. I've heard Sean Hannity when the whole thing happened with the Bud Light thing.
But
Dylan
see,
Mulvaney.
that's what I was going to
listening to
counter
Sean
with.
Hannity go, well, we don't boycott. We
But
don't
we
do that
did.
kind of thing. We don't.
You know, we did.
Screw
We, the
you,
people,
Hannity.
did.
I
agree.
boycott. Are you
We
kidding?
do.
I'm not going to give another dime to some company that's going to be promoting that filth and trash.
There you go. I think, we had a big win with Bud Light. Bud Light lost major market sales when they wanted to have a confused man in a dress featured on their cans. That was a big win for us, and I think we're seeing more of it. There is, the free enterprise, when it's allowed to run free, allows for more choice and more options, and that kind of competition is ensuing. The sports media empire is fracturing. It's easier for people to watch local stuff. People can find other things they can do with their time.
I
They
can't
don't
even
have to
find
put up
local
with that.
games on my television anymore without paying a subscription.
Or they can someone else can. It's easier to record stuff. It's easier to find other things to watch. YouTube, Rumble, all of these different platforms have made it so much easier to compete with corporate media. So this is a big win for us. They don't have that monopoly as much as they used to. We have to really use this to our advantage whenever they want to promote anything. There was a recent interview I saw. A reporter was talking to a child outside of a San Francisco Giants game, and the kid's like, why do we have to hear about pride? What does this have to do with anything? This is the kids saying it, and that gives me a lot of hope as well. They need to listen and learn. And in the meantime, see, the why do these monopolies exist? Because there's been government intervention, but you have other government officials like the U.S. Senator Hawley. They step in. They say, you don't get to discriminate. You don't get to persecute. These Christians have a right to be able to write those verses on their cap and push back against this perversity. But it's so important. Where mass resistance, we really take a stand here. We're not just looking at LGBT from a perspective of, you have your Christian beliefs and people have their secular beliefs. It's all about truth. We shouldn't, it's not normal, healthy, wise for two men to abuse each other, for two women to abuse each other. Why would anyone want to celebrate this garbage? To have a flag that has that pink and white stuff, that symbolizes mutilating children. No, none of us should ever celebrate this stuff. It's inherently wrong, no matter what your religious persuasions may be. We've got to talk about this. Again, back to talk about politics and religion, we got to protect kids, because not talking about these issues has allowed kids to be harmed, to be abused, has allowed our public square to be polluted, and has undermined our public order. This is a great move on their part. Mass resistance, we have built on this massive pushback in June against all this pride garbage. We're even working with people in other countries. In the United Kingdom, we have our growing United Kingdom chapter. They were able to get a pride. Even in the UK, which is woke, overwhelmed with leftist nonsense. Keir Starmer, yes, he did announce his resignation yesterday, but it doesn't matter, because his successor is going to be another crazed LGBT socialist.
Unless they actually hold an election. And then Nigel Farage,
yes,
I do believe, could be the next prime minister, which would be a brilliant move on their part if they're smart enough to do that. But no, what these clowns are going to do is they're going to appoint somebody else. They're not going to have an election, I don't believe. They will get around that.
They know
They'll
they would
find a way.
want
They'll
down.
literally have people screaming for an election. They will ignore them and they will just appoint somebody. I hope I'm wrong.
Farage's reform, party and movement are, sternly opposed to all this LGBT stuff as well.
Tommy Robinson for prime minister.
He's been an excellent advocate. I really hope that all of the strains and differences among different people on the populist right, on the pro-freedom movement will resolve their differences. Farage and Tommy Robinson have had issues. They don't, Farage doesn't work with Tommy. I hope that changes. Robinson's done a great service for the country.
I agree.
UK is waking up. The massive rallies that ensued.
You see what's happening in Ireland?
Yes.
Belfast is freaking on fire right now.
They are, yeah, Belfast. The people have had enough. Their own children being harmed, being abused by these migrants. People have had enough. And of course, the LGBT cult is preeminent in that country. It is staggering. This is a country that was so, this was so fundamentally Catholic in its orientation, and now it wants to go homosexual in its orientation. I mean, this is a real problem. They're still a little behind the curve, sadly. They've had successive elections, and these center-left governments keep getting elected. I know Conor McGregor wanted to run for president at one point, or Taoiseach, that's what they call him, but he wasn't able to get on the ballot for some reason. So
talking about the actor?
There's still Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter. The UFC fighter. He wanted to run for president.
I did not know that. Oh my
goodness.
Did.
But something got in the way, and he wasn't able to make it onto the ballot. And so a center-left government still got elected. It's a big problem. Ireland, the UK is ahead of Ireland, I think, even though both have left-leaning governments right now. So I think, there's going to be like mounting pressure. I think there may be a snap election in the next year. I just don't see any other way out of it. We'll see what happens. So there's what we've been doing in the UK. Mass resistance, we've expanded our overseas presence and our effectiveness. We've worked with pro-family activists in Africa, in Senegal, West African country. They took a firm stance enacting stricter anti-LGBT statutes. They don't just criminalize the behaviors. They're going after the entities that promote this garbage to children in the public square. They have criminalized that. They've stiffened the penalties. They've gone after the NGOs that have infiltrated the country and have pushed this stuff. We were working with pro-family activists to help them get the laws passed. We're very proud of that. In fact, the whole corporate media, globalist media, was outraged about us. We have set them on fire. They've been talking about mass resistance every week for all the stuff that we've done helping people in Senegal,
Good work.
Ghana. These are countries that see what's happened in the West when you normalize and you trivialize sexual depravity. And they just say, we don't want that here. We don't want to be colonized by the LGBT wokeness. And we have helped them to fight that. Some people will think, they go, this is so harsh. You're criminalizing people for who they are. And no, we're pointing out that these are behaviors that shouldn't be normalized.
You can have your little equal rights, but you don't get special privileges, which is what they want.
And the key thing especially is this is about kids. Even in the United States, when there were anti-sodomy statutes, it's not like you had police officers barging into every gay bar. They kept it quiet. Nobody saw it. It's about protecting the kids. Those statutes enable law enforcement to protect the kids. Nobody wants to talk about that. We could talk about Stonewall very briefly. That's supposed to be the civil rights starting point for the gay rights movement in the United States. The Stonewall Inn was a mob bar where they had minors who were as prostitutes. They had minors who were selling their bodies in that mafia-run gay bar. They were violating the liquor laws. They were violating other criminal statutes, and the police showed up to break it up. It had nothing to do about, they're persecuting us because we're gay or trans or whatever. No, you guys are committing all these other horrific crimes. That's what happened. It is one of the most destructive, vile hagiographies that's been pushed in our face. And it was Barack Obama, one of the last things he did before he left the White House is he turned the Stonewall Inn into a national landmark. That needs to be repealed. It is a total falsehood. This is something mass resistance we have sounded the alarm about for years. Brian Kammacher, our president, has wanted to write something down specific about this, but we've been doing so much other stuff, we never have time to get that out. But we've got to make it clear. The whole gay rights movement is founded on fraud. It's founded on this stealing the work of, black activists who just wanted to be treated like every other American citizen. They wanted to turn sexual degeneracy into that civil right as well. That will always be wrong. We have to tell the truth about that. And here he goes again. We're working with predominantly, black communities in Africa, and they don't support this perversion. So it just goes to show the whole civil rights argument is just completely ridiculous when it comes to normalizing this perversity. We also have a great activist in Kansas. Her name is Kathy Brown. She's the leader there in the Topeka Shawnee area. She has been militantly going after the county library system to get rid of all the obscene books. She was able to stop the Pride Month celebration there in Topeka Shawnee County.
Awesome.
This has been very exciting. We are not giving up. It's very important. We just really communicate this to every activist. You've got to keep moving, even if President Trump is in the White House, even though President Trump has been doing great work to scale back this horrid agenda. The work doesn't stop. The fight doesn't end. You got to fight this stuff even locally, because it's not President Trump's job to go after Fresno County, San Diego County, the Fresno County Board of Supervisors.
We better be acting locally. That's why you and I both push that all the time.
We do.
Act locally, and act nationally.
There it is. We're still acting in Redlands. We want to scale back all of the left-wing abuse going on from Together for Redlands, that awful hate group. They fired a bunch of staff. They've had staff reduction because of lower student enrollment, of course, because of all this LGBT promotion. We're helping Redlands parents speak out there, and we want to continue to expand our efforts. I'm working with a lady in West Boylston, Massachusetts. We've also lined up with a great guy in Arizona. He wants to take the fight there in Pima County, very blue county in Arizona. This is the work that we're doing, and we want to expand those efforts. And I am on this show right now telling people Pride Month, so-called Pride Month may be wrapping up, but the perversion is still pervasive. We've got to push against it. Get your city council, get your county on board to reject this LGBT stuff, and we want to help you do it.
And these people, they will not go away, and they will not stop. They might be laying low right now. They might not be pushing as hard as they were, but all it takes is, the next Joe Biden to slip into a position of power, because people are stupid enough to actually vote for another Democrat, which I wish it weren't so, but it's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen. Hopefully not in 2028, but it'll all come roaring right back. And they will. They'll codify. You realize the Pride Month, by the way, and this is what got me kicked off Facebook a year ago. This time a year ago, when they deleted me off the platform completely, and Instagram. I did a show about Pride Month and what a scam and a sham it is. People believe that was actually sanctioned by the government, that it's been set aside. It's an official thing, that all of a sudden the homosexual community gets an entire month devoted to them. No such thing. Obama made a declaration on it, and Biden made a declaration on it, but it's not gone through Congress. It's not like what they had to go through to get Martin Luther King Day done, what they had to go through to any kind of national holiday like that.
Yes.
There's steps you have to go through. None of that was done for this Pride Month. The homosexual community, which permeates the media, decided we're going to take this entire month. We're going to start calling it Pride Month, Gay Pride Month. Remember, it started off Gay Pride. Now they just say Pride. They even took the gay out of it. And everybody was on board. And then they started strong-arming these corporations. If you don't do this, if you don't get involved with this, we will ruin you. We have tremendous power. We will boycott you. We will rally up our base against you. You better do something to acknowledge us. That's when Target got in so much trouble, having their little homo section. And that's when Walmart got into it for a minute. I noticed they don't have that anymore. But
Target has removed all of it. This year, it's been stars and stripes everywhere. It is such a wonderful turnaround.
Now,
this is good.
Now, you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
Right now, with President Trump in power. But as soon as it's not Trump or even a conservative in power, all bets are off. Trust me on this, because they're doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short.
Yes.
They're doing the devil's work, and this is all very satanic. So please be aware. Please be guarded. Please protect your children against this depravity and demonic.
And your dogs too. Oh my goodness! Even the animals. I see your dog behind you visiting.
We got a spike sighting. Hello, Spike.
You can't, and I have to bring that up too. I mean, I just read a horrific story about a migrant raping a goat in France. I mean, this kind of depravity, they go after the kids, they go after the adults, they're going after animals. It's like, this is what happens when there's no borders, boundaries, respect for natural law and order. It's just anarchy. total anarchy. LGBT, and then add a whole bunch of letters after it. There's a reason for this. We have to say no. There has to be a boundary. There has to be a border. It can't just be abject. It can't just be flabby tolerance anymore. We can't tolerate this.
Flabby tolerance. I love that.
Can't have it.
I'm going to steal that. I'm taking that. Flabby
Please.
tolerance. I wanted to talk to you one last thing before we close out. I know you got things to do. You can't be spending all day with me, but an article you did at townhall.com, LA does not love LA. Expand on that.
Well, just really quickly, LA is like, of course, LGBT Central. It's unbelievable. You've got the LGBT Center getting lots of government money. Somehow it's the LA city giving the money. The tenor of the article was about the election results. I mean, you have just abject communism that has become so much in the forefront. They basically have two communists now running for the general election. Karen Bass is a more established one. She's incompetent. And then you've got Nithya Raman, who is an absolute ideologue. She is a female version of Zoran Mamdani, and she will just usher in the whirlwind of communistic destruction. And so it's like LA doesn't love itself. They had all these problems. The city went up in flames. Palisades went up in flames. Crime has been rampant. The police are facing more and more limitations to their lawful authority to stop crime. And yet for all of this, all of the harm, all of the degradation and destruction, LA voters, they rejected Spencer Pratt, who was a common sense alternative, who was speaking to real issues, who was.
I don't believe they did reject him, though.
I know there's the talk about voter fraud, and that's a more than legitimate point. But regardless of the fact is, LA, and you know what? And if that's the case, then everybody should be rioting in the streets.
Why are they not
LA
talking
City
about
needs
it?
to get up. And
That's
say
what I was
something.
leading to. Suddenly it's radio silence about all this.
LA does not love LA. They don't have the courage to correct and demand change. And so it's sad to think, but I pretty much rounded it up with they haven't heard enough. This is, again, a result of, woke white liberals. They want to virtue signal about how they care about every, displaced and disparaged and marginalized group. But they never think, how about the most marginalized, which is the individual citizen who gets harassed, abused, robbed, punished just for living. That's the real group you have to think. That's the most important minority, is that individual. How about the children? Those individuals, there's some real minority groups that they should be thinking about. And that was the big tenor of that article right there. So it's sad. LA has not hurt enough.
My friend Rudy Rosselli up here in NorCal says the same thing. When I keep asking him, why do people in San Francisco, and he's running against John Garamendi, and I pray that he actually wins this time.
Great.
Why are the people in San Francisco and the Bay Area not changing? Why are they not changing their minds, changing their ways? He goes, first of all, because it's trendy and it's easy. It's easy to be on the left. Never have to take a stand on much of anything, do you now? And you just scream people down, shout people down, and you don't have to actually know what you're talking about. Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's easy to be on the left. And the other one he says is they're not hurting enough. They're still not hurting enough. Talk about San Francisco. I wanted to show this to you and get your thoughts on this. I understand that this is a new exercise machine in the gyms targeting males in the city of San Francisco. I was able to snap this picture here.
Do they even know what a man is? Do they know what a woman
There
is?
it is. There it is. That's their exercise machine.
I don't even. I
Come on, it's a joke.
What was
It's
it
a
supposed
joke.
to do?
I don't. It was. It was a joke. It was. Sorry, I was being silly.
That this is what they want to do with their time. I mean, it's not just hurting adults. It's not just hurting kids. Not just hurting animals. Now they want to hurt mannequins. I mean, this is how depraved it is. Okay, Sam, man, this is what we're dealing with. Oh man. And maybe the sad part is
mannequins' lives matter. MLM.
Oh no. Oh man. Save the plastic. Please don't abuse the plastic. My goodness.
All right, partner. Anything else you wanted to cover, or should we close out?
Man, there's so much. We'll have to save it for next week for sure.
Okay, buddy. Thanks again for getting one of my mugs, and I hope that you'll do the same at charliesimons.com. One of these big old 15-ounce coffee mugs right there. Let's talk about politics and religion. Not just mugs, shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff there. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. I always enjoy that. Have a good time with Arthur. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God.